Morning everybody, my name's Justin. We're here at Transwest Truck Trailer RV today. It's a nice sunny day in Frederick, Colorado. We're enjoying the last little bit of our sunshine before we start getting into these cooler months. Today we're going to be doing a Newmar Ventana 3512. So this is a big motorhome and a nice little small package. So there's a lot of benefits in this motorhome, and we'll cover a bunch of those. To start off, it's going to be 35 foot and 10 inches, so you're going to get into a lot more access into those smaller parks. You're going to get a little bit of access to state and national parks as well. So if you're one that wants to live the diesel pusher lifestyle but still wants the accessibility of all those off-grid campsites, you have more access to those with this. So we're going to start off in the front as we always do. Up front, you're going to see a couple different things. So this does have the chrome package on it, so there'll be chrome going down the left side of the motorhome, the handle, and you'll also have all the mirrors will be chrome. Up at the very top, you'll notice a camera on the front. This one was equipped with the 360 camera system, so there'll be a front camera up high, two halfway down this on each side, and then one on the rear. So those are observations cameras there. You'll have those on when the RV is like set up in house mode, so it's not just for when you're driving down the road. So I'm going to go ahead and open the front bay up here. So with this one being a Ventana, you're going to have the front hatch up here to access the generator. So this generator is going to be an 8 kilowatt diesel generator. It's going to pull directly from your fuel tank. You'll have access to your fuel filters up here, oil filters. There's air hookup up here if you ever need to air up tires for your vehicle, for the toys or anything like that. There'll also be a hot water spigot off to the right side, so if you want to clear off the windshield from bugs, especially if you do a lot of traveling in that southeast area, you can do that. Now, down here on the left side, you're also going to have the reservoir for your hydraulic pump. So again, easily accessible, but it also gets it up and out of one of those compartments where you'll notice them in a lot of other manufacturers. So we'll work our way down the side. So right here on this corner, you'll see another camera. So even though this has the 360 camera system, you'll still have your left, right, and rear cameras. Those are going to be the main ones that you use while driving. When you turn on your indicators, it'll switch that second monitor to the big screen, and it'll help cover all the blind spots as you want. Or you can have it set to rear if you're towing a trailer or a vehicle behind you. So with the Ventana, you'll have the big entry door in it. You'll have keyless entry along with a doorbell, an embossed Newmar handle, and big screen door. So with their screen doors, you have the screen down the bottom, plexiglass in the middle, and then if you don't want to interfere with the view out this window, this screen door actually slides up and out of the way. So that way you get a little bit better picture for the passenger, just to get the sights down the road. Up above that, you're going to have a little patio awning, so helps prevent some sun, helps prevent rain, just keeps the debris off of there, especially if you're coming back in on, it starts raining when you're out and about. Very top above us, you will have a Girard awning on it, so it does have the center pitch point on that. What that means to you guys is if you look at the angle of it, it comes out and then it slopes down. So even when we have these nice sunny days on it, you still get a little bit more shade over here and some protection from the sun. On the awning itself, you're going to have an LED strip mounted to the actual box. So when this awning is only partially open or even up against the sidewall, you're still going to get a little bit of that porch light effect if that's what you want to use it for. All right. So starting up in the wheel well, you're going to have 22.5-inch wheels, even though this is a smaller motorhome. So it's going to help with the quality of the ride, with heat dissipation on the wheels. It's going to be wrapped in a 305/70 22.5. They are Alcoa wheels, so they are name brand wheels. Anybody that has been in the motorhome world for a long time, you'll be very familiar with that. Down here in the compartment, you'll see a couple different things. So off back against the frame, you'll see one of your first hydraulic legs. So you will have a hydraulic leveling system in here. You'll have 4 corners, one on each side of the front behind these steer wheels, and then back in between next to the rear wheels. In the Where your fuel filler is, there's gonna be a nice steel plate in here. That's gonna protect that fuel line from any blowouts, road debris, or anything of that nature. You will have it on both sides, and you can fill the fuel from both sides. While we're still right in this area, the other thing that we'll do is the slide rooms. So Newmar invented the slide back in the 90s for the Class A motorhome. What they utilize nowadays is gonna be a flush mount slide system. So that makes it where it's flush with the slide walls. It seals it a little bit better for air and wind noise, as well as keeping rain, water, and everything of that nature out, just to protect the longevity of your motorhome. So this first bay is going to be 2 bays that are connected. So in this first one is where your outdoor freezer goes. So we didn't option this one with the freezer, but we did prep it for it. So if you look up in the top right hand corner, you're gonna have that 110 plug and that 12 volt plug. So if you wanted to get the slide out tray or that freezer tray for it, you can do that after the fact. But since this is a 35 footer, you do lose that additional pass-through storage bay like you get in those 40 plus range motorhomes. So we try to give you a little bit of flexibility with that storage. So now we get back to the main storage compartment. This one will be your most of your pass-through storage. So you'll see it's a little bit wider on this side. You'll have access to your central vacuum, your awning controllers, and a lot of your electrical up here. You'll have a central vacuum bag down here, so that's the accessories for it, and we'll review that on the inside. And you also get a few spare tiles for the inside. So that spare tiles will be from the batch that this motorhome was made with. So you don't ever have to try to color match those tiles. You already have a few that work for it. On that left-hand side over there, that's gonna be your Oasis system. So Oasis is hydronic heating. This will be an all-electric coach, so there's not a propane tank mounted on this. That will be used for continuous hot water, as well as your furnace. And when we get over to that water bay, I can show you what one of those little heating ducts looks like. And then that white square over there is the other side of this pass-through bay, which we'll see on the other side. Up above, you're gonna have your exterior TV with a sound bar. There is outlet with USB-A and USB-C out here, so if you need to charge any of your phones, speakers, or any accessories like that, you can. Or if you wanted to put a little picnic table out here, you can run an extension cord from there or down underneath. Up above, you'll see one of those side cameras we were talking about for the 360 camera system. Above that, you'll see your frameless windows, so we'll see those going all the way around. It gives it a nice, cleaner look. They are made by Lippert, so it's pretty accessible if you ever need to get a new window. So if you scratch the tint or if you damage the window, it helps out with the longevity of that and parts replacements. Above that, there's going to be 2 things. You're going to have a little docking light over here, as well as your slide topper. So if you notice with your slide topper, it's going to be encased in that metal wrap. That's going to keep the fabric tucked away and inside, so you're not going to get any sun degradation on it, or just protect it from the elements when it's all closed up. Because a lot of the time you're not traveling every day in these, and you don't want them just sitting and deteriorating without you using it. So in this next bay, you're going to have the electrical component. So all of your wires are going to be labeled. It's going to tell you where each of this goes. They did this starting about 2 years ago. And it's very helpful to the technicians, and it makes it a lot easier to diagnose issues and stuff, because there'll be little red lights and popped fuses. And it just helps make finding any of the problems that come along later down the line more manageable and repairable. Next bay is going to be a small storage bay. You do have cargo lights in all of them, so we'll see those as you go throughout. Next one is going to be brains for your chassis. So you'll have all your chassis fuses in here and modules. You'll have your chassis batteries, as well as a main chassis disconnect. So a lot of the times here when we don't have them plugged in, we'll just kill those chassis batteries and turn the disconnect off. That way we don't have any of that parasitic draw on them, and we don't have to worry about coming out to a dead motorhome. So back here, there'll be a couple different things. So you'll have your 360 camera system tied in back here. You'll have your rear engine hatch cover in here. So this is using the 8.9 liter engine. It's going to be 380 horsepower, and when you get up to those 40-foot range, they'll tune it up to 400 horsepower. But this is going to be that same block that you'll get in Dutch Stars and stuff, just with different cooling packages and a little bit a towing package difference depending on what engine is in it. Or I'm sorry, if it's a tag axle and transmission. So those will be some of the changes that you get. As far as serviceability back here, you do have the filter minder in here, your code reader for the engine, for diagnostics. Being able to check your coolant reservoir under the flap here. You'll also have that reservoir here, transmission dipstick, engine oil fill, and engine oil dipstick. Down below, you're going to have a 10,000 pound tow capacity. So it is already prepped for air connection. You do have your 7-way plug back here, and then you do have the class 3 hitch back there. So 1,000 pounds of tongue weight or 10,000 pounds of towing. So next compartment is going to be a little bit of storage as well. A lot of customers will put their fluids in here. You'll have your block heater plug located in here. That way you don't have to mess around in the engine bay trying to find the plug, and it also keeps it from getting dirty, but they still put the little cover on there as well. Next bay is going to be some more electrical. You're going to have your built-in surge protector in here. You're going to have your cable and satellite inlet down there. You're going to have your 50 amp power cord on a power cord reel. So you would just push the button to suck it all in. And it'll spit it back out a little bit just so it doesn't ever get completely bound up in there. And one of the cool things that Newmar does is they have the thick bulb seals all the way around that compress when you close the door. So when you close it, you want to make sure you follow it through, not just slam it closed and hope it gets tight. But they also build these little cutouts with the seals for the power cord. That way you can keep that compartment door closed, but it's still airtight in there, instead of having the big circle cutout that you get. So just one of the things that they think of with the engineering behind them. So next bay is going to be kind of a sewer storage bay. So this is where you can put any of your messy stuff. It does have a drain hole in there, so put anything that's going to get dirty or you don't want it with all your other belongings in there. So a lot of times people put their sewer hoses in there or any of those dump station accessories. You'll also have your def tank back here. There's a gauge located above the def tank. You have easy access to the electrical and stuff with that, but you also have a def gauge in on the dash. So we can also get a better look of one of those hydraulic legs for leveling back here as well. So next bay is going to be water bay. So in the water bay, you're going to have a whole house water filter, your black tank flush, hot and cold outdoor shower. You're going to have low point drains in here. You'll also have the dump station. Here you'll notice that white cutout that they use. The reason why they put that one there is your sewer hose isn't connected all the time. You usually only have it connected when you're dumping. So that way they just go back to those 4-inch cutouts right there. This is all plastic lined, so if there's any water seepage, spillage, anything like that, you can rinse out this whole compartment, and there's a drain hole located over here just to flush it out down towards the bottom. You will have a freshwater hose on a power cord reel as well. So same concept, you suck it in, and it has the limiter on there so it doesn't go too far in, you don't have to worry about it. And then the same cutout in the seal, so you can keep all this closed and airtight. So if you want to crouch down here, Jody, you can actually see up there, this is what one of those Oasis radiators look like. So that's where that glycol fluid flows through. There's little 12-volt fans behind it that blow across that radiator, and that's what's going to heat the motorhome. So you have a designated one in this water bay just to make sure everything stays nice and warm and you get those extended season trips out of this motorhome. So over here is going to be what the Oasis looks like. So it uses electricity or diesel to heat that glycol mixture. So you have 2 electric elements in it, or the single diesel burner. It's a little bit more serviceable than the aqua-hot systems that you'll see in a lot of the other competitors. That's one of the reasons why Newmar is stuck with using them throughout the years. And it's a very good system, very serviceable system. So we like it, especially here for all the products that we sell. This is the other side of that pass-through bay that we were looking at. So next one's gonna be your batteries. So you will have 8 house batteries in this. So you do have a 3,000 watt inverter inside, and then you also have these 8 house batteries. So they are located on a slide tray. So you would just pull these 2 pins, one on each side, and lift the handle and slide it out. And they do have a wiring diagram off to the right over here. So you can actually see how those wires connect up, because when you're swapping batteries out, you never just want to take a picture of the batteries and rely on the person that did it before. You want to reference the actual wiring diagram. This will be the opposite side for the fuel fill, so you can fill it up from both sides. Makes it a little bit easier if you're pulling in truck stops or going through gas stations, whatever you need to do. Up front is going to be more electrical for the motorhome. So this will be kind of some of the front dash controls as well as a lot of the generator controls. So when you saw me open the hood earlier, that front lift, that was pulling this lever so you can get a look inside of there. You will have fuses in here, and then Newmar also sends like a little extra spare fuse holder right here. So with a few from the factory, because things happen, you pop fuses. That's the whole point of them, just protect all the appliances or all the electrical tied into them. So that's going to be it for the outside of this motorhome. We'll go ahead and cover the inside. So, as we're walking in, you'll see fully finished tile steps here. So it makes it a little bit easier to clean, a little bit nicer, more grand of an entrance. You'll have 2 cubbies. So one more shallow cubby here, and then one nice and deep cubby up top. And for those customers that are going to be in the passenger, you do have a step cover that'll come all the way out and then up to give it a flush mount floor. So there's a couple purposes for that. People that don't want their dogs down in the step, make sure they don't fall down there. And then the passenger that doesn't like their feet to dangle but doesn't want to have the little recliner prop out. Okay, so as we come in here, there's a couple things like right in the entrance of the doorway. So you'll have your main house battery disconnect here, and then also we equipped this one with the electric baggage doors. So you can unlock and unlock the baggage doors right from here. And one of the cool things that Newmar has been doing is once you put it in drive and start moving, it'll automatically lock those baggage doors. We learned that out like a couple minutes before this video because I had to move it over to spot, and I had the doors unlocked and it locked again. You'll have the passenger monitor system here, so that's gonna duplicate everything that's on the driver's side. That way the passenger can control navigation, radio, everything of that nature without the driver have to mess with that while they're driving. The control for the step cover, map lights, that patio light outside, and then a wireless charging station for their phones here, as well as outlet over here. So we're gonna go ahead and show what this motorhome looks like closed up. So we optioned it for optimal sleeping. So we got the booth that converts to a sleeper, a couch that converts to a sleeper. Above Jody is gonna be an overhead bunk bed. So once we get it all open, we'll show that. So you can still get through this motorhome, get to the control panel, get back to the bathroom, or slide back and get to the bedroom if you need to while it's closed. So it is functional while you're on the road, and it's not like some of the other brands where this is all butt up against each other and you're trying to slide sideways through, squishing your knees through there. So we're gonna go ahead and open all of the slides on this one. So we'll be a 4-slide motorhome instead of Newmar's typical 3 slides. So they did that just to open up that bedroom a little bit more back there, and while maintaining a little bit of rigidity in that wall. Alright, so the last 2 slide buttons are going to be in the bedroom. They have them all separated instead of on one main control panel, so you can watch what's going on with your slide rooms, and you're not worrying about crunching a door, crunching the seat, or anything of that. They want you to have your eyes on what's going on. So we're gonna start up front and cover the things up here. So we'll do the dash last as always. Up above the cockpit, you're gonna have some of your controls. So you'll have your Victron control system up here. That's gonna be tied into your inverter. You'll be able to see the state of charge, where your power is going, and how much power is coming in and everything that's going on. Up above, you'll have your energy management system. So right now we got power from the generator. There's 66 amps going to everything. It's showing how much amperage on each one of the legs. The Girard switch over here is going to be for your patio awning that we saw right there. And then you'll also have the control for your door awning separately. You'll have security lights on the passenger side, the step control right there, so that way the step's not coming in and out as you open and close that door. Whenever you have the engine off, we can keep it out. We try to do that for demoing all the units. And then what you saw when I was opening the slides is the 2 front slide controls are up here. Over here you'll have 2 small storage compartments. And then up above, you'll have your first sleeping arrangement. So it's as simple as turning a key, pushing a button, and letting it down. So there is a little ladder that you can use to make it get up here. It's somewhere in the motorhome. I didn't find it earlier. I didn't think to. But you can throw a grandbaby up here, or even a single adult up here, because it is plenty tall. So it's probably about 6'2", 6'3" on the length of the bed. So a larger person can fit up there. And to raise it up, it's simple as having that key turned again and just pushing the up button. Okay. So we'll start on a little bit in the living room area. So you'll notice that you have windows all around the couch. It brings a lot of daylight into these smaller motorhomes, because windows are normally what's neglected when you have these smaller footprints. So they are all opening windows. The sides of your slides are going to be slider windows, so they'll slide up. And then the rear of the slides are going to be your frameless tilt-out windows. So you can have them open when it's raining, like that, so you can still get some fresh air. You'll also notice that you have outlets on both ends of the couch, as well as little stands. So if you want to set drinks or anything, you can do that. Down here, you're going to have a little control panel. So this is going to be a small version of your master control panel. You can control your AC, generator, flooring in here, lights, TV lift for over there, and as well as view your tank levels. So the TV is just a 1 button. So you just push up and down on it, and you don't have to sit there and hold it. The TV is going to start tucking away, and there's going to be another window behind that. Up above that slide, or up above the couch, you'll have 5 cabinets. So all of these cabinets are connected, so if you want to stick longer items up here, shelves, cubbies, whatever you need to do to break it down into smaller compartments, you can. It is felt lined up here, so that's going to keep items from sliding around. And then all of them have those hidden hinges with the props, so it keeps them up and open, and you're not having to sit here and hold the compartment or hold the cabinet door open whenever you're letting it out. So let's see. Bed here is going to be a pull-out bed. There we go. So you'll pull that out, flip that, and then just grab the mattress and flip it over. So there is an air pump for this mattress. So if anybody stays out here, you have any guests on it, they will be comfortable and you don't have to worry about it. There's also seat belts in this. So it looks like there's 3 seat belts mounted underneath there. So if you do have any guests or grandbabies coming with you, you can make sure they're buckled in, because it's becoming more important these days. Not like it was when I was a kid where we just rode anywhere. There we go. So that'll be your second area of sleeping. Your third area of sleeping is going to be this dinette. So with the dinette, there's a flip lever underneath it, and you can put a cushion in the middle. So right now the cushion's back in the main closet. So you'll flip this handle over, push it all the way down, move the cushions out of the way a little bit because they're just sitting on here, and then put that center cushion in there. So for this one, children, don't try and put an adult there because it is a short sleeping bed. I'm 5'10", and it would be definitely a tight fit. So it's very small people, very short people in there. Underneath the dinette, you're gonna have storage on both sides. You'll also have seat belt. I think it's a singular seat belt. Yeah, one seat belt on this side, so it is forward facing. So up above, you're gonna have your sound bar for that TV up here. You're gonna have a little AV cabinet with the glass front over here. So if you want a DVD player, Blu-ray, anything of that nature tied into that TV, they put all the wiring in here for you. Just makes it a little bit easier to get to and not have to pull out that TV and get behind it. And the last thing is just another little storage compartment here. On the both sides of the dinette, you're gonna have the more outlets. So again, it's outlet, standard outlet on that side, and then this side's gonna be USB-A and USB-C. The last portion of kind of the living area is just gonna be some storage. So you'll have the felt lined adjustable shelves in here, so kind of make it whatever you need, whether it's spices, cooking stuff, accessory, whatever you need, and based on heights, or you can use it as an additional pantry. You'll have a little bit deeper of one down below, so again, more storage, whatever your heart desires. And that's kind of the end of like the living room portion of this. So if you want to separate it out, now we'll get into the kitchen area and then the bathroom across from it. So in the kitchen area, you'll have 3 cabinets up above. These 2 are tied in together, so you can kind of put what you need in here. We have the owner's manuals in here for Newmar, and then the engine themselves. On this panel, or in here, you'll have a couple of important things. So in here, you'll have a notice for all the customers. You'll have a contact for servicing regarding the Newmar Country Club, as well as your contact for Ventana. You'll have all your paint codes in here, and then you'll have all your chassis specs mounted to the sticker on that back wall, as well as your weights, cargo carrying capacities, and everything of that nature. I'll just set this out of the way for now. And then just a little storage cabinet there. And the last thing for up above is going to be your microwave. So it is a convection microwave and also an air fryer. So any of your cooking that you do in the Class A's without an oven, this is how you do it. The countertops are going to be solid surface countertops. So you get a big farm sink with the sink covers being cut out of the actual countertop, so it's the same material and gives it a nice clean aesthetic. You'll also have more covers for the cooktop, but they'll also double as cutting boards on the reverse side. So don't be afraid to use these because you can replace them if you need to. You can order them from Newmar. All electric coach, so back to no propane. You'll have a true induction cooktop on here, so anything a magnet will stick to. The pans, anything a magnet will stick to, that's how you use those. They do make it removable, so if you're one that likes to do your cooking outside, you can do that. There is a backsplash on this right side to protect the wood. You also have a kitchen window behind, and it is opening. So again, if you want those smells outside of the motorhome, you can open that window, and you still have a day and a night shade there. So if you want to block out more sunlight, you can. So down below, you'll have one big drawer. This is going to be your remotes, a lot of your controls for the motorhome. You'll have touch-up paints in here, as well as some accessories that came with the appliances in the motorhome. You'll have a dishwasher down below. So it does have a little travel lock on it, so you just want to make sure you power on the dishwasher, and that'll release that lock. Just helps it from bouncing open when you're traveling down the road. In between that sink and the cooktop, you will have some drawers. So if you notice, they're all soft closed drawers. So again, just trying to maintain that Newmar quality throughout. Both of these are going to be little sponge holders. And then you'll have a cabinet that is connected across right here with a trash can underneath. So the next thing that we'll cover is what's on the wall across from the kitchen. So this will be your main control panel. On the home, you'll have a variety of displayed items here. House batteries, chassis batteries, your different tank levels, water pump controls, as well as topping off your fresh tank if you're connected to city water. You'll have all your different light controls here, as well as the TV controls, so you don't have to remember what tabs it in. They make all your important stuff on that home page. Auto Gen Start is just setting up your generator settings. That way, if you want to set it up for voltage or HVAC settings, if you have any pets in here, you can do that. Floor heat, so the Ventana does have the all-tile floor, and then we did option this specific one for heated floors. Again, just to emphasize that big package in a small motorhome. You do have 3 zones for it, so the front is going to be pretty much from the wall forward, the middle is going to be your bathroom and kitchen area, and the back's going to be your bedroom. HVAC controls, you'll have 2 15K ACs with heat pumps, and your Oasis controls are going to be in here. Bluetooth pairs if you want to connect this panel to the app on your phone, and that way you can do it from around the motorhome if you do any solo camping like that, so you can watch your awning, watch your slides, stuff of that nature. And then your light controls, so you can turn on and off all of these lights from here, and you can go through each of the rooms and turn on and off individual lights. Off to the right of that, it's going to be a fantastic fan. That's going to be for the Max Air fan that is above our head, and then they did finish it in the same wood that the rest of the motorhome is, so it's not just that plastic frame that you see in a lot of other brands. We'll cover the bathroom since it's right here, and then we'll cover the rest of the kitchen. So in this bathroom, this is a smaller motorhome. So most of the time you have this egress exit in that rear bath of the 40-foot motorhome. How it works is you unlock it and open the door, pull the false panel out, and there's a flip down ladder right there. So if you ever need to get out in a hurry and you can't get to that front door, you can get out this way. And it is still an opening window in here, and then again, still day and night shades. The valance is removable, so you can just pull that off the wall if you need to get out of the way. The only thing you got to step over is the toilet. So in this bathroom, there is a decent amount of storage. So I'm going to step into the shower so Jody can get in here. If you look in that storage compartment there, it is goes pretty deep and it is pretty wide. So even though this is a mid-bath motorhome, there's still quite a bit of storage in here and a rather large shower. So we'll go to that in a second. You have a medicine cabinet here, and Newmar fashion, you have glass as far as the doors, and then the little chain limiter, so you don't have to worry about the glass hitting the little towel rack. More backsplash, and then an above counter bowl, and then storage down below. In here, kind of hard to tell, but there's another fantastic fan up above. So this one, you see the plastic in here just to limit the wood up above, especially since you shower in here. You don't want that humidity getting tied up with that wood when that's where all of that moisture is going to be sucked out at. You'll have those controls here, as well as another control panel like we saw next to that couch in there. So with this door, if you noticed how it opens in the middle of it, and that way you can get the full width of this door going in and out whenever the slide is closed. So it makes it easier to get into the bathroom instead of having to slide through the gap like that if it was on a full hinge. So last thing in here is going to be the shower. So this is a very large shower for a 35-footer. So you have all of this room and then all of this height. Whereas a lot of these 33-footers, 35-footers, you'll have that radius shower, where this one maintains the full rectangle with a little bit corner cut out so you have some place to set stuff. It is equipped with the shower miser system, so that's going to recirculate that fresh water back into the fresh tank while the water's heating up, and then that'll change colors so you know that the water's warm. You do have a wand and a shower head here, and then we did get it with the adjustable seat, so if anybody needs to sit down or prop their leg up or anything like that, you can do that. And then it is still the 3-piece glass front. So just a little bit nicer of a shower even in a small motorhome. Alright. So last part of the kitchen areas is going to be two things. So you have your full residential fridge in here. So French doors on top and then drawers down at the bottom. You do have an ice maker in here, and then there is a second drawer down below. And then you do have the travel lock in the center. So flip that over and it locks the motorhome so you don't have to worry about it popping open during going down the road, and you don't have that little T-strap that you'll see a lot of other motorhomes have. Off to the right, it's going to be another little pantry that's right next to the fridge. So the bottom section is adjustable, so if you need taller or smaller items in here, you can put them down there. And then the last thing in this hallway is going to be that central vacuum that we saw down below. So the bag below contained the hose attachments for this, as well as you have a kick sweep in this one. So again, smaller motorhome, a lot of the times they'll give you the hose attachment where you can do it all manually, but they'll take away the kick sweep. So just makes it a little bit nicer and convenient. Flip it up, sweep all your dirt to it, flip it up, and then sweep the dirt into it. Just easier cleanups. Pocket door to separate the bedroom. So it does have a little latch at the end there, and to open it, you just flip the plastic piece back down. And then you'll have your rear bedroom. So in this rear bedroom, you do have a king bed. Underneath it is going to be some storage. So there's that ladder that we talked about. You do have this, all three of these panels open up, but under them is mainly just service components for that slide room mechanism for the bed, but they do give you that little bit of storage up above those false panels. There is a tiny step up back here in the Ventana, and that is because they switched to that larger motor. So having that 8.9 liter block, it's a little bit taller, so on this smaller footprint, you'll have this little step up on the rear side of the bed. And the reason for that is this is a single bath model, where normally those 40-footers, you have the whole bathroom back here, and then they just make it a step up into the bathroom instead of just on the side of the bed. So both sides of the bed, you're going to have this little cubby. So you have, it's a little bit deeper than most, so you'll have that. You'll also have an outlet right there, and then a little tiny nightstand up above that. And then on top of the bed, you'll have storage. So there is an outlet up there already. there's going to be a cutout on this right side over here. So if anybody wants to put a CPAP up there, you can put your CPAP up there, leave the cabinet door open, and then drop the hoses down the right side without there, and you don't have to worry about drilling that hole out. You will have windows on both sides of the bed. They are opening windows, and there is going to be another emergency exit window all the way across from the bed in between the dresser area. So we'll see that in just a second. So back here is going to be your rear wardrobe. So this is going to be kind of your main storage spot. This is the cushion that we saw for the middle. So we'll set that up here for now. If you want to stick your head or the camera down in here, Jody, you'll see like a cubby down there. So a lot of people just use that as like a little hamper, or some other customers will use that for longer items, dresses and stuff, and that way they can just droop down into there on that right side of the closet. You do have hanging all the way across. In these doors back here, they make it easy to get to your breakers, fuses, and resettables in here. So it kind of got it out of the bathroom and just put it in the back wall. And then there's another little door in here that gives you easy access to the washer and dryer plumbing. So you can turn off that water right there. If there's ever a leak or anything like that, you do have access to water, the water shutoff valves. All right. In this one, it's a full opening access to your washer and dryer. They are stackable. There is a drain pan down below. Again, anything ever happens, just one of those things that they thought about. And they put these neat doors on here so you can still get in and out and open these all the way and not have to shuffle around the door like you do whenever it's like washer and dryer in a hallway. Last little bit in here is going to be storage. So you'll have storage over here, little AV cabinet down below. Again, electrical tied into that TV. That way you don't have to pull the TV off the wall to get behind it. Drawers. Alright. And then another storage compartment in here. So the last thing that we're going to cover is going to be the ceilings in the Newmars. So if you look up at them, they're all going to be soft touch ceilings, and then you'll notice the ornate centers in them. So they kind of do this because it hides the AC stuff. Other manufacturers will do one side intakes, one side exhaust, or just a central intake where the actual AC system is, and then just ductwork spread throughout. What they've done is they put everything down the center, covered it up, but they made sure it's directly in the center of the motorhome. So when these slides are in, the ACs are still cooling the motorhome and inside the slide boxes instead of just cooling the top of the slide like you'll have when you have those vents going down the sides. So just one of those thoughtful things that they've done. And it is a more residential feel, residential ductwork in the ceilings here. So they'll use residential insulation in it instead of block foam like a lot of other manufacturers. The walls are going to be residential insulation in there, and then you'll have C channels with cutouts in there so they can run the wires through. So just a lot of thought going into the long-term designs of these, and lots of years of engineering. The last thing that we're going to go through is just some of the chassis stuff up here. So if we look at the keys themselves, you'll have your engine keys, and then you'll have the entry door and deadbolt keys. You'll also have code if you ever need to get more keys made, but you'll also have a key fob. So you can lock and unlock the cargo doors as well as the entry door in here. So again, just a little bit easier and more convenient to get in and out. And you still have that keyless entry that we saw on the handle up there. All right. So up here, you're going to have a couple displays. So I don't know what's dinging. Oh, air. Okay. Let's see. All right, so you'll have your left display over here. That's where your navigation panel is going to be, as well as the different menu options. Your volume controls are going to be over here, as well as the main menu. So in that main menu, you can control what you're seeing. So if you do cameras, this is where you can control your 360 cameras, and that's when you can use the different buttons to see all those different angles we want. So right now we can see the van for all the recording stuff. And then you can kind of see what's going on with your motorhome. And you can get the full visual for around it and the rear, as well as having it broken up into that. So now that you can see all that, that'll be your main control panel. That's also what the passenger control with that the monitor panel that they have. And then this right one is strictly for cameras. That way you always have an eye on what's going on around you. Down below it, you're going to have a lot of your controls up here. So you'll have your front visor, your front shade, overhead fans and their settings, generators, defrost fans, as well as an entry door lock, your main AC controls, a couple different outlets, and then a 12-volt plug. And then you'll also have a little drawer with cup holders. On the dash itself, you're going to have a digital display, which Freightliner switched to a few years ago. You can control what's on it and have a couple different gauges depending on what you want. You do have a lane departure warning on here, and then collision mitigation on these as well. So you'll have a couple extra safety features that you won't have on older motorhomes. You'll have, one of the things that makes Newmar is having the comfort drive, which is adjusting the steering effort. So what that does is you can do more or less effort required, and it just basically is like assistive power steering in a car is probably the closest example. And it makes it where you can steer the motorhome a lot easier, and it'll help center the wheel back up if you just let go on it. So when on those windy days, it makes it a lot more comfortable to drive. The other things that you'll see up here is your RPMs, oil pressure, coolant temperatures. You'll have your fuel and your depth gauge is up there. You'll have the 2 pressures for your ping tanks, your distance to empty, as well as your battery voltage, and then obviously your speedometer. If you want to have different information up here, you can choose what's going to be up in the center and what other gauges you can have access to, like one of them's transmission temperature, if you're going to be one that's taking advantage of that 10,000 pound tow capacity. On the column itself, you're going to have easy access to some controls. So drive and neutral is going to be rotating this dial. If you're in manual mode, you can switch to that by pushing the end in and then paddle shifting like that. And then to turn on the engine brake is simply just flipping this up and down. That way you're not having to burn up your brakes, especially if you're going downhill or down the mountains, especially here in Colorado. The left side is going to be for your blinkers, your high beams, and then your windshield wiper controls. On the steering wheel, you're going to have all your cruise control settings as well as your push-to-talk settings. You'll have volume controls on the left side, and then the menu controls for over here on this left side. Over here on the far left, you'll have your battery boost. So what that is it'll tie the batteries in together. If you ever have to, if you kill one group of batteries with the other, you can always link the groups and get your motorhome back started. You'll have the mirror controls with mirror heat over there. You'll have headlight controls here. You'll have the air horn over here, traction control settings, cup holder above, cup holder down below, little cubby. And then again, more USB ports down here. There's a wireless charging pad right there if you want to keep your phone like visible but out of the way. And then you'll also have your leveling controls right here. So you can connect this to your phone to adjust any of the leveling if you need to fine tooth it or your thing gets uncalibrated. Depending on what you need to do, you can control that from here as well. I believe that's about it for this one. So my name is Justin. This has been a Newmar Ventana 3512. If you have any other questions, feel free to contact me. My cell phone is 404-936-6215. My email is justin.rogers@transwest.com. So talk to you soon.